Hi everyone, this is Amy at the Virtual Planetarium at Raritan Valley Community College. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the things that we can see in our sky for the week of May 24th. Let's start by taking a look at our sky this evening, or any evening this week. The sun is setting at about 8:15, so if you wait until 9:15, 9:30, the sky will be dark enough so that you can see the stars. And if you look over in the western sky, you'll see the springtime arch. 4 bright stars. We've got Capella in the northwest, Castor, Pollux, and the moon, and Procyon, sorry. And on Tuesday night, the moon is going to join them. And it's not a large moon, it is a thin crescent moon. So don't be confused by what you're seeing here on the screen. It's not a very large moon. It's a nice thin crescent moon. So look for the springtime arch, Procyon, Pollux, Castor, and Capella, and they will be a great group of stars to see. Now, another cool thing that's happening this week is we're going to see the International Space Station fly overhead. Well, not directly overhead, but it'll make passes across our sky. And this bright object that you see right here, that is the International Space Station. And maybe I have it moving a little bit faster than it really will in our evening sky, but it's going to move across the sky every night. And I'm sure your question is, how do I find out how to see it? Well, let's start by looking at a website called Heavens Above. And you can get to it by following heavens-above.com. And you see this page here. Up on the top right, there is your location. This is important. You need to put in your location or close to it, because otherwise you'll get incorrect information about when to look for the International Space Station. So I have the location set for Raritan Valley Community College in Branchburg, and if you're farther away than maybe 30 miles or so from the college, just click on that location area and you can put in your latitude and longitude, or you can use the map to plot where you are. So definitely put in your location, and then on the left-hand side we can see satellites, and come down to where it says 10-day predictions for satellites, and click on ISS for International Space Station. And then we can see passes for the International Space Station. We've got May 25th, 26th, so we've got the date in the first column and then brightness or magnitude in the second column. And you'll notice that these are all negative numbers, and that is great because when we're talking about the brightness of stars or other celestial objects, a negative number is actually brighter than a positive number. So like the dimmest stars that you can see in the Little Dipper are about a magnitude 5. In Vega, one of the brightest stars, is magnitude 0. Now, we also want to know what time to look for the International Space Station. So we have the time, and it's in a 24-hour clock. And then this third grouping of column is great because I want that middle column that says altitude, ALT, and it shows how high up the International Space Station will travel. Now, one of these says 77 degrees. That's amazing. Friday, May 29th, the ISS will be negative 3.8. That is really, really bright. Can't miss that. So minus 3.8 at 10:37 p.m. and it will get up to 77 degrees above the horizon. Now, where should we look? Well, click on where it says May 29th, click on a date, and then that brings up a map showing the path that the ISS will take. So it'll come up higher and higher, and then it'll actually pass by the Big Dipper. And then it stops. Well, at that point, the ISS moves into the Earth's shadow in outer space. So it goes into nighttime, and we won't be able to see it. Fantastic. So definitely go outside and look for the International Space Station. You can see that, as you saw on that chart, this week it's visible every day. Sometimes multiple passes are visible. Okay, next let's move towards the south and then up higher in the sky. And if you crane your neck backwards and look up, you can see the Big Dipper up here. The Big Dipper. It looks like a giant pot in the sky, and it's part of the constellation the Great Bear. Great Bear. Once you find the Big Dipper, you can use it to find some other stars and constellations. Follow the handle and arc to Arcturus, then speed on to Spica. Those are the names of these two bright stars. Arcturus is in the constellation Boötes the Herdsman, and Spica is in the constellation of Virgo the Maiden. And next to Arcturus and Boötes the Herdsman, kind of this kite shape of stars, there's a half circle of stars. That is Corona Borealis, the northern crown. And if we look over in the eastern sky, right now the sky is set for about 9:30, 10 o'clock. So if we stay up late, keep looking at the sky. Oh, we have the International Space Station passing by again. If we stay up until about midnight, we'll see a large group of stars right here. Deneb, Vega, and Altair. These three stars form the Summer Triangle. The Summer Triangle, which is a very, very large group of stars. Huge shape in the sky. Each of these stars is in a separate constellation. Deneb is in Cygnus the Swan. Vega is in Lyra the Harp. And Altair is in Aquila the Eagle. 3 stars, 3 constellations. Now if we stay up even later, around 1 a.m., some planets are starting to rise. There's Jupiter and Saturn. And then lagging farther behind is Mars. Around 4 in the morning, if you want to get up then, Jupiter and Saturn will be up pretty high in the sky, and Mars will also be visible. Mars is not as bright as it will be later in the year. In October it's going to be pretty bright, but it is bright enough for you to pick it out. And one way to tell the difference between stars and planets is to remember that song that you learned when you were little, Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Stars twinkle and planets don't. So that's one way to remember. Well, those are some of the stars that we can see in our sky this week. And of course, the International Space Station will be passing overhead many times this week. So go to Heavens Above and check the listing for dates and times. And I will see you next time at the planetarium. Have a great day, everyone.